Prepared to step down as CBS News anchorman on a Friday night, one network executive postulated that the broadcaster had come to represent God, Mother, the American flag, the 4-minute mile, and Mount Everest to an adoring public traumatized by Vietnam and Watergate. Every physical feature of Cronkite told the same story, from the glacial blue of his receptive eyes to the perfect grooming of his Walt Disney-like mustache. By all outward appearances, he looked like a serious man. His French-cuffed shirts, many bearing the monogram WLC for Walter Leland Cronkite, were always starched. Only his large knot ties, some of them with fat stripes or polka dots, hinted toward humor. As a child of the Great Depression, Cronkite found that frugality came naturally. Even his best friends called him stingy. He hated picking up tabs or tipping. Committed to being a top-tier reporter in the 1940s, 1950s, and 1960s, Cronkite habitually worked 10 to 12 hours a day. Swirling around him were always scores of producers, writers, runners, typists, and cameramen, but only he was the calm eye of the news-gathering storm, creating an overall impression of gentility, equanimity, and decency. Cronkite, the quintessential team leader, perceived introspection as self-indulgent. "I never spent any time examining my navel," he boasted as an octogenarian, "and I'm bored with people who do." Another chief factor of Cronkite's success was that he cared deeply about TV scripts. What Cronkite's key producers understood was that the veteran broadcaster had a full-bore ardor about certain issues, such as civil rights, space travel, and the environment. The greatest moments in TV broadcasting history, Walter Cronkite on the Apollo missions, Dan Rather from Tiananmen Square, Peter Arnett from Baghdad, Christiane Amanpour from Bosnia-Herzegovina, Brian Williams during Hurricane Katrina, Anderson Cooper from Haiti, and others all gelled because the scriptwriters felt the passion of the on-air reporter. Instead of being fully objective, they spoke from the heart. The intensity index was ratcheted up a few notches to garner dramatic effect. Broadcasters are notorious for having big egos. Many conflate TV face time with being important figures in the same league with Washington, Lincoln, and the Roosevelts. Cronkite wasn't like that. He had a rather matter-of-fact, humble, and benevolent disposition that was borderline heroic. It can be said of three men that in their time as communicators, this nation hung on their words, waited in eager anticipation of what they were going to observe and report and treat in their special way. H.D. Quigg, a senior UPI editor, wrote, "Mark Twain, Will Rogers, and Walter Cronkite." Obviously, he had become more than a mere TV anchorman to the American public. You can't overestimate Walter's life experience during World War II working for the United Press. Roger Ailes, the president of the Fox News channel, explained. He had the voice, calmness, and organic writing style of a wire reporter who knew what he was doing. There was something comforting about his nuts-and-bolts approach. Just seeing Walter, in person or on the air, meant everything was going to be okay. He guided us through the Cold War with more steadiness than flair. He had an enormous life. Of all Walter Cronkite's boyhood adventures, the one that was seared in his memory clearest was his first airplane flight in 1923. For the 7-year-old Cronkite, the near-death episode ironically engendered a compulsion toward risky endeavors. He liked having his adrenal gland working in overdrive. In this pre-Lindbergh era, prop airplanes had been flown recreationally for only a decade. My father and I went up in an old Curtiss-Wright biplane with an OX-5 engine in it off of a grass field in Kansas City, Cronkite told David Friend, a reporter for Life magazine. The engine failed just on takeoff, and the pilot put it down in a nearby field running through a fence. Scared the devil out of Dad. I thought it was a great experience. Didn't know any better. For Cronkite, the spectacular bird's-eye view of the show-me state's topography was an unforgettable thrill. In later years, he enthusiastically recalled the flight over his birthplace.